Okay, so as we get settled in, just take a nice deep breath. And let yourself start to come into the moment. Right in this moment, nothing needs to change. We can let what's here right now in this moment be our teacher. And let it show us what's here. In this present moment, there's nothing to fear. We can simply let ourselves rest and just notice what's here in this moment. You have never had to do anything to be worthy of God's love. God's love doesn't come with any conditions. As we go inward even further, and just stay right here in the present. If the mind tries to take you out of the present into the past or future thoughts, just lovingly and gently redirect our focus. Like a loving parent gently redirects a small child. Pointing them towards what's good and helpful. We can guide our mind back into the here and now. And we can notice that as we are in this moment, things will come up into the mind, into awareness. Could be doubts or upset feelings. And we can just take this opportunity to allow those experiences. If the mind has started to go into thoughts again, we can just bring it back to the here and now. because this moment is the portal to your divine awareness. And this moment is how we access the feelings that seem to get in the way of that awareness. Things start to get simpler when we really just practice what is here now. What is here in my awareness now? And then we can just sink in a little bit more. Just letting yourself feel exactly what is here. This really is a practice of radical self-acceptance. Think of allowing what may be a whole storm of emotions, but to really just allow all of it to move through, be felt, without judging it, or suppressing it, or hiding it. That's why I call it radical, because it's radical to allow all of it, to allow it fully. So we can just practice the best that we can. And what does it mean if you feel like you can't allow all of it in this moment? Okay, well, whatever doesn't get allowed now, it'll come up a little later. Even that's not a big deal. But to remember that that full allowance is what you want. That's your objective. How many tears do we need to shed, perhaps? I don't know. We don't have to count. We can just allow. Sometimes we want to know how deep does the feeling go? Well, it goes as deep as it goes. And we can learn to not put a limit on how much we feel. Maybe we weren't taught that when we were young, that it's okay to cry as long as you need to cry, be angry as much as you need to be angry. whatever it is, just to fully let it be as it is. A lot of us were taught something different. Don't be sad. No one likes someone who's sad. Always put on a happy face. Maybe other things like that. Other ways you were taught it's not okay to feel all of your feelings. It's not okay to be all of what you are. But we can learn something new now. We can learn something more loving. We can learn complete allowance, complete acceptance. I think of this as putting on our Jesus goggles, you know? How does Jesus look at us? Looks at us with complete love. He doesn't judge a scrap of what we're going through. Not a little bit. He just loves without end, without limit, without any sort of condition. So you can think to yourself, how would Jesus see what I'm going through? What would Jesus think about this? He would just be loving, because he is just loving. Completely, completely loving. You can imagine if you had a conversation with Jesus. Jesus, is there space for me to feel this feeling? Yes. Is there space for you to feel this feeling? Even though it's been going on for a long time? Yes. Yes, you can feel it as long as you need to feel it, as deep as it goes. And you know that's what he would say. You know that. You can feel it inside yourself. You know, if you were crying in Jesus's arms, he would let you cry as long as you needed to cry. Cry all day if you needed to. And beyond. He would never stop holding you. He has never stopped holding you. This is the level of lovingness that we are going to, that we are becoming to. This level of lovingness is for all of us. For all of us. I mean, we've all experienced love that is at least somewhat held back. Maybe we've been in those connections with someone who they're pretty loving, but then there's something they're not loving around. We know how that feels. Jesus is not like this. The love of spirit is not like that. It does not love you in some ways and not others. It doesn't hold back in any way for any reason. Now, your love for yourself, again, you're going to get to that place, but I'm guessing at the moment it's not like that. There's still some places you think are not worth loving in you. Some reasons why you could be expected to not be loved. Those things are not true. And this is where we want to learn to love like Jesus. I want to learn to love like Jesus. This is a good mantra to have in you. I want to learn to love like Jesus. I want to learn to love everyone the way Jesus loves them. I want to learn to love even me the way Jesus loves me, without limit, without any sort of qualification, without any hold back. Nothing is held back in this love. Let me love like you do, Jesus. Let me love like you do. He's all for it. He's cheering you on with that prayer. He is with you all the way. That's all he wants for us, is for us to learn to love like he does. It's not beyond us. It's not beyond our capability. It's not for those special people who can learn to love like that and not you. No, no, don't even go there. It is for all of us, everyone. And in the Course, Jesus even tells us the only difference between him and us is that what is now potential in us is experience for him. That perfect love that Jesus is, Jesus became by letting go of all the fear, all of the doubt, all the shame, is the perfect love that we are too. So let's find the spots in our mind that aren't there yet. See victimization, let's see attacks, let's see judgments. Let's find those dirty places in our thoughts and let's bring them forward. Shadows do not survive in the light. Fear is just a thought that is a lack of love. A shadow is just a lack of light. Neither is really possible, but they seem to be possible. They rely on faulty beliefs in the mind, faulty perception. The good news is that faulty perception can be corrected. It can be healed. It can be released for authentic, right-minded perception. And that's all we're going for. We're just going for right-minded perception, because consistent right-minded perception leads to the peace. Help me perceive with this loving perspective. Maybe we come into some tough thing, some tough spot in our life, some situation that we really are struggling with. We can pray, how can I see this with loving perspective? How can I see this with your perspective, Jesus? What would you see here that I'm not seeing? These are very helpful prayers, helpful things to think when we're going through something. We're going through some challenge or some hardship. Let me take your loving hand, Jesus. You guide me through this maze I seem to be stuck in. Because this life can be like walking through a maze. Some of you have probably been on these mazes where you can actually literally walk in and through a maze. And they can be very confusing. It can be very topsy-turvy. You think you're going the right direction, all of a sudden you're at a dead end. You think you're getting closer to the exit, but no, you're completely stuck. But this loving perspective that Jesus is encouraging us to adopt is like a secret exit to the maze. We could just pop out that secret exit. Ah, now I'm out. That's better. I always remember this one haunted house that we would go to when I was a kid. And there was like one or two of these sort of emergency exits. If you really got scared, you didn't have to go through the whole thing. You could just leave. And this is what we want to do. We want to leave the scary parts of our mind. You don't have to follow. Jesus even assures us this. You don't have to trace your mind, the ego thought system, through all the circuitous routes that it takes. No, you just want to leave it. Get out of there. Those haunted houses are scary. They have people that jump out and grab you or something. At least they used to. I probably can't do that anymore. But we can just say, no, this is not what I want. Show me the loving perspective here. There's always a loving perspective. It comes down to, do we want to remember that there's a loving perspective? Maybe sometimes we don't want to. And that's actually kind of helpful to see. There's a part of me that doesn't really want to shift out of this upset. But even that, we can just allow that. We can allow our resistance to being loving, to feeling loving. There's no judgment around that. Practicing this course is like stepping into the ultimate kindness. I mean, Jesus demonstrated it. Here he is having his body killed very gruesomely. What does he express? Lovingness, kindness, care for the people who are killing him, killing his body. I mean, he knew he was beyond the body. He knew there was no death. And we're coming to that point ourselves. But it's remarkable. That's how all-encompassing this awareness becomes. That's how all-encompassing we want the loving experience for us to be. He says in that section about the crucifixion that we are merely asked to try to find, loving perspective in much less extreme circumstances. We look at the situations in our life, pretty much always our body is not being literally killed. Whatever we're going through, probably not going through that. But we often feel like it. We often feel like that's what's happening to us. Our mind interprets the circumstances as though we're literally being attacked sometimes, maybe quite often, for some of us. That's okay, right? We don't have to even judge that. But he wants us to practice no matter what. And that's also a big part of the course. Doesn't matter if it looks like you're just dealing with, a hangnail on your finger that kind of hurts a little. or if you're dealing with the literal murdering of your body. It does not matter, and anything in between. It's the same choice from upset to peace of mind. And he tells us this. There is no small upset. There is no small lack of peace. Lack of peace is total. When you're not in peace, you're not in peace. A mild irritation is just a cover over rage. Wow. And this just goes back to his message, his very consistent message. It's one thought system or the other. Loving thought system of peace, joy, happiness, completion, fullness of being, or separation thought system, misery, agony, fear, loneliness, sinfulness, jealousy, guilt. One or the other. We're always, always choosing one or the other. And what do you want to be choosing? This comes back to the power of choice. What do you want to choose? Which of these thought systems do you want to choose? Only one leads to happiness. Only one leads to peace of mind. The power to choose is always yours. It's never beyond you. You might not be used to choosing one, but it doesn't mean you're not able to. More than anything else in this course, Jesus wants to reveal to you the power of your mind, the power of your mind to make this choice. This is what leads out of hell. This is what leads out of the slavery to the ego thought system, the servitude to these beliefs of suffering and sin. What is it? The power to choose another way of thinking, the power to let go of the way that you've been seeing things. You are not a victim to your old way of thinking. You are not. Don't fool yourself into saying you are. Remind yourself of the power of your ability to choose. A beautiful last section of the text. Choose once again. Choose once again. It's a 3-word mantra for your whole life. Choose once again. What are you feeling now? If it's not complete happiness and peace, choose once again. You don't know how to let go of your grievance, choose that you want to. Even if you don't feel like you can or don't know how, say, I want to release this upset. I want to release this old way of thinking. It is not happy. It does not make me feel good. This is your power of choice. Remember it. Come back to it again and again and again. It is the path out of the pit of despair. It will pull you all the way from the depths of the ego's misery. And it puts you out of the thought of victimization and back into your rightful position as the one who chooses. And the more you practice, the more you realize you have this power, the more you remember that you want to choose again. Choose once again. You fell off the wagon, you're feeling alone, sad, bitter, confused. Choose once again. And it's beautiful. This choosing once again is a strength that you build in the mind. You get more and more determined to choose your right mind. You feel more and more consistent that you're worthy of choosing for peace instead of fear, instead of separation. You get more and more used to being in a happy, peaceful way. You start to feel like the right mind is like oxygen, like you need it. You need your right mind. You actually need it more than you need oxygen. That's how important it is. Come back to your sanity. Because jealousy is not sane, anger is not sane, hatred is not sane. All of these ego maelstrom feelings are not sane. Of course, allow them, of course, let them move through, but do not choose to hold on to them. Do not make them a part of your self-concept. Do not make them a part of your personal identity. Sometimes people do that. I am a sad person. I met people you would call a sad person. Oh, that's a personal identity. What a miserable personal identity that is. I'm an angry person. I'm a jealous person. I'm a mistreated person. Oof. Oh, these are heavy, heavy things to believe. And they're not the truth. They are not the truth. Choose once again. Let all of those sad identities go. They are not you. They've never been you. No matter how many sad stories you've been through, they are not you. Choose once again. Choose once again what you will experience. How does Jesus describe you in the Course? The Son of God. The Son of God. That is a beautiful expression. Do you experience yourself as the Son of God? And this is genderless. It's not about male or female. This is about knowing that you are worthy completely of all of God's love. All of God's love. Not a fraction, not a portion, all of it. And there is a call here. There is a call here to say yes. Say yes to this indwelling presence. It's not something you give for someone else or you do because some guy on a screen says to do it. It's something that is inherent in your very being. You say yes to this Christ within because it is the only real thing you can do. There's nothing else that you are worthy of. Most of us think a certain outcome in the world is something that will make us happy. It will not do it. Most people would be happy to be told, you're worthy of $1 million. You're worthy of a beautiful house. You're worthy of perfect health in your body. None of these things are worth it. They're not, you're worthy only of knowing the Christ that you are, the Christ self that is without limit, without burden. this is what you are worthy of. To know this completely, game over. You're back in your oneness in heaven, where you never left. But if it still seems like you're on your way to that recognition of your perfect unity with God without limit, then we look at the smudge on the screen. We look at the shadow in the mind. We bring up the anger. We bring up the resentment. We bring up sadness, bitterness, guilt, fear. And what do we do with them? We look at them with complete love and non-judgment. Or better yet, we use the judgment of the Holy Spirit, which is to look at them and see through them completely. All of these images are like the thinnest veil placed in front of the blazing might of the sun. It's just going to burn up into nothingness. But it will only do that if we're willing. If we're willing to hand it over. And we just have to find that place within. We have to find that willingness. It doesn't come from someone outside. It doesn't come from a teacher or a guru. No one's just going to deposit it in your mind. It has to be discovered. But it's very evident when all of the confusing, distracting thoughts and beliefs are cleared. It is your truest nature. It cannot be lost, even if it can be covered over in your awareness. But even before it's your full experience, you have the power to say yes. Yes, this is what I want. Yes, I'm willing to clear all the fear in my mind so that I can come into this experience, the truth of God's love. Yes, this is what I'm going for. And I know when I say yes, it is a yes with 1,000 angels right beside me, cheering me on, supporting every step. All of the might of heaven supports this desire to wake up from the dream of separation. You are not alone in this, and you never have been. As we practice saying yes, as we practice allowing that yes to live inside of us, to be the purpose of everything we do, of every breath we take, and the fears do start to drop away. The shadows do dissolve. More and more, our life is that living yes. I remember maybe a year or two ago, Jenny and I walked into a store somewhere, and we started talking with someone there, maybe someone who worked at the store. And at some point she asked what we did, and we said we were, we're spiritual teachers. And she said, "Oh, I knew it. I knew it as soon as I met you." She said, I knew you were very spiritual. I could see it in your eyes. But it's just that yes. It's that yes. It's that yes to God, to love, to peace, to joy. Sometimes people feel it because it is there. It's just there. It wants to express, it wants to connect, it wants to reveal itself in all things. So this yes becomes the prayer with which we live our lives, the desire that we have for everything we do. Show me this yes. We can say that. Maybe we're about to meet up with someone or go into some office or some situation we are not at ease with. Show me the yes. Show me the yes for the love of God in this moment, in this situation, in this new friend that I haven't yet met. And more, we let ourselves be carried by this river of yes. It's actually very, very light, very joyful and freeing. A lot of us, we spend our time in the river, but hanging on to that branch, that root. That's tiring, to hold on to that. Might need to hold on with all of our might because we're afraid. We're afraid of really letting love take us where it wants us to go. But give yourself a break, a rest from all that holding, clinging. It's actually pretty fun to go with the flow. Now, you can't really do it and have any personal concepts that you want to maintain. You have to let those go too. They're like rocks in your pocket. They weigh you down, keep you from flowing. But everyone you release, you're that much lighter. You're that much more willing and able to flow with that river of yes. Yeah, it feels so good. So maybe before we step into sharing, just to take a moment here and sort of check in. What is that river wanting to flow towards in your experience? What is it flowing you into? Something new, something different? Maybe a different conversation or a conversation that needs to happen. And just to feel it, really feel it. I think pretty much all of you know where that river is taking you if you let it tell you. And if you're not quite sure, then just know that you can always keep asking without fear or pressure around getting it right, but just knowing there's a place that love wants to take me. There might be a next step, an action to take. And sometimes it's an inward place it wants us to go. But for a lot of us, it's actually a thing to do, words to speak. And then we can just really embrace that. Does anyone feel to share about where their inner river is pulling them, calling them, guiding them? Lena?
Yeah, the week before last week, my landlord said, look, we need to have a conversation about the money we need to give you for helping us with the garden. And we can do that after we come back from our holiday. We're going away for a week. And I said, great, yeah, we can do that. So, and they've been back since Friday. And I haven't mentioned any of it. And actually, before that, before he asked me to have this conversation, I've been helping out in the garden for maybe 5-6 hours. And after that period, they said, look, we're going to withdraw. We want to withdraw some money from the rent for you, the next payment for the help you, for the time you spent in the garden helping. So, and I asked how much, and it was about 24 euros or maybe 5 hours. And I just thought, really? I didn't say anything. I just went, oh, okay. What are they thinking? And yeah, so I kind of want to bring it up because I'm thinking the week they've been away now, I spent at least an hour every day in the garden.
Yeah.
At least.
Do you feel like you can just ask for the conversation?
Yeah, I have some fear around that because the husband, the man, he's been quite difficult, I think. And yeah, he seemed upset because I canceled my rental contract. Because as soon as he came home from the holiday, because I sent it by email while they were away, and as soon as he got home and I ran into him, as soon as I opened my front door, he was there as usual. And yeah, he seemed upset. Like, so it seems like your dog made scratches on the front door, on the inside. And I said, what do you mean? I bought a gate, about 2 meters away from the front door. So she couldn't scratch the door when I was away. She was by herself. And, he looked at the door, and I've been looking at the door several times. And, the door is from the 60s. So it's not brand new, really.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of marks on it already. I feel like he's coming after me and he's upset. I put them in a situation they're not really happy with, finding a new resident and maybe missing out on monthly rent, something. I don't know.
Let's just take a breath here, Lena, and just see how you feel as you're speaking. How do you feel right now?
I've been really upset in my mind with them.
Mm.
I feel these 24 euros they withdraw for all these hours of work is a fucking joke.
Well, it sounds like, Lena, that this wasn't like maybe a normal employment situation.
No, of course not. But it's like ridiculous.
It's a,
It's what you would
but
pay for
again,
a job.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
maybe a little token of appreciation. So I think it needs to be looked at in that lens. I don't
of
think you were doing that to try to make like normal wages,
course not.
but to kind of keep it in mind that if it's more of just a little bit of a thank you, to accept whatever they feel to give. But I think it is okay for you to bring it up.
To have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted to give me some fair payment.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know. I have my idea what is fair. What
Yeah, and if you didn't agree on that before you did the work, then it's about just being accepting of whatever they want to give you.
Right. I don't feel to help anymore though.
Yeah, and that's okay too. But I think this is a part of your process, is just to kind of get more clear on things. So you can get more clear on things with them about that, so that that's just sort of lifted from your mind. You don't need to keep thinking about it.
Yeah, and what's also coming up now, that seems like I've been burying. It was like when I moved in here. I moved in I think it was 2 weeks early. I asked them if I could move in earlier, and they said yes. And I said, if there is some cleaning left to do, I can do it, But I still paid. And actually, when I came, there was no cleaning done from the last person who rented here. It was so bloody dirty. I couldn't do anything. I had to spend the 2 first days from morning to evening just cleaning. It was gross. And I still had to pay for rent.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just,
Yeah, I think these things are good that they're coming up, because this is what the mind does. It finds ways that it's not been, you haven't been treated well. Someone hasn't been caring or kind or giving in your connection with them. But then it sort of just cycles around in them. I get the feeling like there's almost like a list, like you kind of have, like, these are the things between you and them where they haven't been very giving or caring or generous. But it's like a heavy burden that you carry around with you. And this is your choose once again moment here, to choose if you want to stay in those thoughts, or if you really want to try to heal them, if you really want to offer them over and say, I want a completely different perspective around the situation. Maybe these are all facts in the dream of your connection with them, but that still doesn't mean you need to be, in an upset frame of mind around them.
yeah, and that's why I feel I can't really speak to them because I don't feel calm enough.
Well, I think calm your mind the best you can and then have the conversation, but don't let it linger on. I think it's better to have the conversation sooner rather than later, so that again, it can just be off your plate. And really trust. If they want to only give you 24 euros for however many hours you did, just trust and say thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing and putting this in Holy Spirit's hands. Yeah.
Yeah, this was really helpful sessions for me because I really can see more and more that I still want press things down.
Mm-hmm.
I also discovered not so long time ago the belief, this character is very rigid. Because I had a lot of family witnesses, also a son who is autistic. Not in a really strong way, but I can see that this personality, I'm really beginning to realize that, whoa, so I really want to let that go. And about beliefs, for always believed I'm not capable to love. I'm an ice queen, blah, 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 all the ego stuff. So it's really time to let it go. And at this moment, it's funny that you talked about the lady could see that you are spiritual teachers. And yesterday I connected with a realtor, and first on message it was because I'm always honest. I said, I'm looking for a place with a garden in the back or a little patio, doesn't matter, doesn't need to be big, because I want to sit in stillness, I want to meditate. And then he reacted, oh, beautiful, I love meditation, I love spirituality. And yesterday we joined for a house, but that was too big for me. I said, I don't need a big house, and it was on a main road, far too noisy. But we had a beautiful talk. And I already left here with that attention that it's not about the house, it is about the joining. And so now I'm really in a prayer to make it obvious, because I'm in a kind of place that it feels like Spirit wants me to take like an hermitage, but I'm freaking out. For me, I never did that. Really want to disconnect from the outside world, like my one-on-ones, and I never did that before. Never. Even for a day, it's sometimes difficult for me not have connections. So I'm really waiting for that. Yeah, make it obvious if you want me to go to that place, because I really felt totally in love with that place. But the ego character, oh my gosh, just for 2 months and then you move again. And then, oh. So yeah, that's my prayer, to really make it obvious that do you really want me to live like a kind of monk for those months? Perhaps for a month, it doesn't matter, but at least, yeah, a temporary place, because it seems that the place is not, the lady doesn't want to, even it's separate from her house, she's now gone. She only rents the place when she is gone. I said, but it's private. There is a wall, only a door she can close. Doesn't she want to rent it out? And then the realtor said, well, if you really want to stay there, ask her. So we will see what happens. If it's for 2 months, then I'm gonna accept if Spirit really wants. But I can see like the symbols. Someone was in a series talking about suddenly I heard monk. So the person was saying, does you want me to live like a monk? I was thinking, is this a sign for me? So I'm looking for the symbols to really go, because I want that. I want to come in that place of silence, because this character has a hard way with meditation to really, sink in deeper. So
that feels beautiful as you talk about it. You sound like you haven't really felt for sure, but there's something about that going within. I can feel the call in you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Perhaps this is the answer, to say yes to that place. Stop searching for something else. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we're with you for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Joni. Yeah, and sometimes it's sort of an outward reflection of that, that going within. Sometimes it's just our situation, where we can go within with our situation because we really want to, because we really, we want. I was talking so much about that, Jesus, to love like Jesus loves. We want to love like Jesus loves. And we know that the way to get to that is to clear everything out, to clear all the grievances out, all of the sadnesses, all of the fears. That's it. And so, Jesus went into the desert for 40 days. So, we can all have our version of that. And I think pretty much everyone does on their path at some time have a more focused inward part of it. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful to allow that when it's called for. And when Holy Spirit is giving that to us. Yeah. Yeah, and again, whatever it looks like, for you, it might be a couple months that is kind of more inward, more focused, more tapping in. And for someone else, it might be a few days of just going within. Or here in the community, we often encourage people, or people kind of feel it from within, to just say, I'm in silence. So even as we walk around or maybe see people, to know that like we have a safe container. I can just be with what I'm feeling now. And we even have rules like, just because you see someone, you're passing someone, you don't have to say hello. You don't have to engage in that level. You can stay in whatever you're feeling. You can stay in whatever is present. It's not required to put on the I'm a person kind of way that society might have taught us or told us we need to have. And it's beautiful. This is a gift we can always give ourselves. You don't owe something to someone else outside of you. You don't owe an interaction to someone, even if it's something you've done for a long time or you have a habit of doing it. You don't, it's not something that you have to do. It's something you can see. How do I feel within? Does it really feel authentic to do that? Sometimes breaking a long-standing pattern is a part of our journey in going deeper. And that's beautiful, to really trust that. A little bit ago this afternoon, I had a call with my mother, and it's been a journey with her, because I stepped into a few years ago this place of not making kind of regular calls to family members, and letting go of those old shoulds that I was very into. I was very into kind of fulfilling my end of the sort of unspoken bargain, basically, that was there, until I went to a deeper place within me. And I decided I only want to do these calls if they're completely guided, if I feel them in the depth of my heart. And that meant having a lot less of that kind of calls. And there was a period where that brought up a lot. It brought up stuff for me, but it brought up stuff for the family members. And then just to see the culmination years later, after this shift has kind of gone through, a call with my mother. I haven't spoken to her in a long time, and it was just beautiful. There was no anything. It was like there was no it should have been different, or something should have unfolded differently. It was just present connection. And I think that's just an example of how we can really come from a place of pureness in everything that we do. Not out of guilt, not out of obligation, not out of this is how it's always been. Don't let that be your guide to this next thing that you're stepping into, or a future decision that's coming up for you. Don't trap yourself in those limited ways of being, those limited beliefs around what life should be or how it needs to look. No. It only needs to look the way the river of yes flows you to. Follow the river of yes. Follow it, follow it, follow it. Notice where you're clinging onto the branches, and really do yourself a favor and let the grip go. Loosen that grip. Flow in the river. It's such a better experience. I've shared a few times about this time where I happened to be in a like a spa at a hotel. I was the only person in this place, a big swimming pool and a hot tub and all that stuff. And so I was just sitting in the hot tub, and it's nice, it's relaxing, the water's warm, but I realized I have a bit of tension. And I sort of checked in, like, well, what's this about? And the tension was because this was one of the hot tubs that sort of had like a flow of a circle. The water flowed in a circle around the hot tub. And as I'm sitting there, my tension is I'm holding on to the seat. I have to effort just to stay put. And I realized it doesn't matter. There's no one in this place. I don't need to hold on to the seat. And so I just let go, and it was a fairly big hot tub. I could float on my back in the hot tub and just let the jets of the hot tub push me around. It was so freeing. I mean, I don't know how many 5-10 minutes I let myself just float in a circle without any effort on my part. And this is how life can be. We can just let the flow take us exactly where it wants to go. And it's beautiful. It's joyous, that effortless way of being. It's available. Sometimes it looks like effortlessly walking down the road to go for a walk in nature. Maybe we effortlessly take a journey into town. We maybe effortlessly go buy some food for a meal we want to make. I mean, it could look like so many things, but when we let the flow take us, it will take us exactly where we need to go. We will speak even to the people that are helpful for us to speak to. And again, to do it in all ways, always. When you have that sort of compulsory thing, oh, I need to call that person, just check. Do I? Do I need to call that person? Maybe I can question that. Maybe there's something different that wants to unfold. Maybe that old obligation is not actually an obligation. It's just a choice that I've been making before, but now is an option. Now is a maybe. Now I can give it over to the river of yes. If the river of yes takes me to it, then I say yes. Otherwise, just let it fall away. Just let it go. Let yourself be carried by the whirlpool of love. It's very fun. Joni, want to share a little more?
Yeah, thank you. It's the answer I'm waiting for because I can see in my experience at this moment, the mighty companion is going to leave tomorrow to the US. And because I joined a lot with her, she stayed here for a while and go and back and forth. And I really was praying, make it obvious. That came in my mind exactly what you are talking about. I need to say goodbye. I need to connect with her before she's leaving, but I don't feel it. So thank you for my prayer. You answered it.
Sweet.
But yeah, you can see that the different. It's easier with not mighty companions to not do that, but I can see, yeah, it's a mighty companion. You can't let her go before saying goodbye or join with her before she's leaving. But I don't feel it. So
You can let her go.
yeah, I know, but I could see a lot of lately, the last days, a lot of guilt came up. Yeah, you need to. That's so for, thank you. This is the answer on my prayer.
That's it. That's it. That's a good example, Joni. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know what that flow is going to look like. But the beautiful thing is, we don't even have to. We don't have to. I love the analogy of our path being like listening to a symphony. You know, in the world, so much of the time we're sort of focused on getting to the end. Maybe in our jobs, we're like, get to the end of the workday, you know, or in school, you know, I get to the end, I need to graduate and get my diploma. Or, there's a lot of things in life that are like that. I want to get to the end. Once I get this done, then I'll be okay. Then I can be happy. Then I can relax. Then I can meditate, whatever it is. But I like that analogy that life is like a symphony. And in a symphony, you don't go to the symphony just to say, I got to get to the end, right? No, you sit there and you enjoy it. You enjoy every note that's played. You enjoy every emotion that comes up because of the music that's being shared with you. Let your life be a symphony. Let yourself really be in each moment of your life. That is the river of love. That is the river that's calling you to your next step. Let your whole life be a symphony. Because it is, if we hand it over. Well, I think this is where we'll wrap up for tonight. But it's been a real lovely time connecting and sharing and being in this flow. We are always in this flow. We are always in one flow. It's not 8 billion separate flows. It is one flow of awakening. And the more that we let ourselves just flow with it, the more we feel that. You know, as I was floating around in that hot tub by myself, I did not feel alone. I did not feel disconnected. I felt nothing but freedom and happiness. It doesn't matter what it looks like. When we're in the flow, we are joined. I feel joined right now. And we can stay joined even as the session ends. So look forward to seeing you all again sometime soon. Have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day, rest of your evening. And we'll connect again. All right. Good night, everyone.